So what happens is the colonists decide to meet again in Philadelphia, and the same representatives that attend the First Continental Congress and the Second Continental Congress attend this meeting, and they decide to write a document that declares the colonists' independence from Great Britain. So what this document was basically a breakup note that Sally would give to Stephen at lunch stating, I don't like the way you've been treating me. I don't like the way things are going. I'm breaking up with you. Okay. And what the colonists did with this document was they issued it to the King of Britain, King George III at the time. And they're going to say that basically that we don't like the way things have been going. We don't like the way you've been treating us. We're separating from you, and we're going to create our own country, and we're going to create our own government to rule over that country. Okay? And how do you think King George is going to respond to this? Well, he's not going to like how the colonists do this. Okay, he wants to hang on to the colonies. They have been making him a lot of money, and they've been making him in the country of Britain much more powerful. So what he's going to do is he's going to mobilize his military, and he's going to order them to go fight the colonists and regain control of the colonies after they declare their independence, thus starting the American Revolution. And before the Declaration of Independence was issued to King George III, keep in mind that the colonists did get into some battles with the British government and the British troops stationed over in the colonies. So the fighting has already broken out by the time the colonists declare their independence from Great Britain. So Thomas Jefferson is going to be the main author of the Declaration of Independence, but he's going to have help from several men that are in that meeting. Okay, one of the other main authors of the Declaration of Independence, historians say that this individual helped Thomas Jefferson out the most with the writing of the Declaration of Independence, was Benjamin Franklin. Okay, and Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and the other men who write the Declaration of Independence and sign it are going to borrow ideas from other people, including several British philosophers. If you don't know what a philosopher is, it is an individual with big ideas about life. So Thomas Jefferson is going to borrow the ideas of European philosophers, specifically a British philosopher by the name of John Locke, who had big ideas about how a government should function. So John Locke was a philosopher over in Britain, and he is going to believe that people had certain natural rights, okay, that every human is entitled to. And these natural rights consisted of the right to life, which is the right to live, and the right to liberty, so the right to be free and make your own decisions, and the right to own property. Okay. And he felt it was the government's job to protect your property and your freedoms. Okay. So to protect your life, your freedoms to make your own choices, like deciding what you want to be when you grow up, or what profession you want to go into, and your property, like the right to own a house. Okay. He felt it was the government's job to protect those rights. But every person has those rights, according to John Locke. Okay? And we talked about Benjamin Franklin as well being the main person to help Thomas Jefferson, or the person who helped Thomas Jefferson out the most while Thomas Jefferson was writing the Declaration of Independence, according to a lot of historians. So Benjamin Franklin was a member of the Continental Congress. So he attended the First Continental Congress meeting and the Second Continental Congress meeting. And then he's going to help Thomas Jefferson write the Declaration of Independence. He's also going to be the first U.S. ambassador to to France, and really the first U.S. ambassador ever. Okay, so what's a U.S. ambassador do? Well, U.S. ambassadors keep our government posted on how our relations are going with other countries. Benjamin Franklin, during the American Revolution, was the U.S. ambassador to France, and he's going to develop a really good relationship with the French government. And he's going to be able to convince the French government to send soldiers and supplies and even loan some money to the colonies while they're fighting their war for independence against the British government. Okay, Benjamin Franklin was very well liked by the French government. That's how he was able to convince the French government to do this. Right? They liked all Benjamin Franklin's inventions. They liked Benjamin Franklin's ideas. So when he asked them for help, the French government was willing to help Benjamin Franklin and the rest of the colonies. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the key ideas and philosophies that are located within the Declaration of Independence. So in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson is going to write that people have certain unalienable rights. So he's going to paraphrase that part and borrow ideas from John Locke's natural rights idea that each individual is entitled to these natural rights. But Thomas Jefferson's going to say the word unalienable, which means cannot be taken away. Okay. And he's going to claim these unalienable rights to be the right to life, which means the right to live, liberty, the right to freedom, okay, make your own choices in life, like what you want to be when you grow up, and the pursuit of happiness. So the right to do what makes you happy. Thomas Jefferson and the rest of the colonists at this meeting claimed that Britain was taking these rights away from them, and they did not have the right to choose their own government, their own politicians, to make decisions for them. Okay, they had the King of Britain and Parliament making all these decisions, and they had no power over, what laws and policies they were passing. They couldn't vote for or against them. They couldn't vote for or against the king. They couldn't vote for or against the members of Parliament. So they were unhappy about that, and they're going to claim that it's going to interfere with their pursuit of happiness. Okay, and Thomas Jefferson and the rest of the writers of the Declaration of Independence are going to claim that people establish a government to protect those rights. So it's the government's job to make sure that people maintain the right to life, certain freedoms, like making decisions about what they want to be when they grow up, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to do what makes them happy. Okay. So, for instance, people are going to, or Thomas Jefferson claims that people should establish a government to protect those rights. So, for instance, a fictitious example here, if the United States was to be attacked by France or Spain or Germany or Italy, just a fictitious example, none of those countries are planning on attacking the United States, the government should protect the United States citizens from, being enslaved by any country that is potentially going to attack us or attempt to take the lives of innocent citizens living within our country. Okay. And the third key philosophy is that the government should derive or get its power from the people. So how does a government get its power from the people currently in the United States? Well, it gets its power by holding elections for political officials to be elected. So, for instance, if we don't like our current government leaders, we don't like the laws that they're passing or the policies they're creating for U.S. citizens to follow, when those officials like our president or our congressmen or women or our state governor, when they're up for re-election, we have the power to vote them out of office, okay, and vote for someone else, someone who we think as Americans is going to create policies and laws that we agree with. Okay, so Great Britain is not going to give the colonists this power, right? The colonists do not have the power to vote for or against the British king. They don't have the power to vote for or against the members of parliament. They don't have the power to vote for or against any of the policies, laws, or taxes the British king and parliament are having them follow, okay, or pay. So that's a main reason why the colonists want to separate from the British government. So another key philosophy there. All right. The colonists are also going to claim that people have a right and a responsibility to change a government that violates their rights. So they felt that the British government was violating their rights by not giving them any power. Okay. Like we just said in the last key philosophy, the British government didn't give the colonists any power within the British government. And the colonists felt that a government should get its power from the people. Okay. And they felt that the British government was also taking away their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or giving them the right to, one, give the government its power to rule over them, and then they also felt their unalienable rights were being taken away. Okay, so they felt they had a right and a responsibility to change the government by declaring their independence from Great Britain, creating their own country, and then creating their own government. Okay, that was their proposed change with this breakup note. Okay, that's the change they declared. So they believe that the government should work for the people. If it does not, it should be voted out or removed by the people. People have the right to remove it, they believe. So they didn't believe the British government was working for them. So they're going to remove themselves from the British government by declaring their independence. They felt that they had the right to do this. Okay. And that'll do it for our discussion for today. We're going to be talking about what happens after the colonists declare their independence from Great Britain in our next discussion video. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.